collections. So in collection, if you can see, there are a lot of interfaces available. Okay, so if you can see in the collection framework, there is something called as list. Okay, there is something called as set. Okay, there is something called as queue. Then there is something called as hash map. Okay, so how can we iterate through all of these? So for list, it's very much simple, right? You can do list iterator. Okay, for then for map, it will be like map.entrySet.iterator. Okay, it is similar to that. But for set, it becomes a little bit different. So most of the time in the interview, the candidate used to tell like just like list iterator, they will tell like there is something called a set iterator. Okay, I have also made a mistake in the interview, so I can tell you from my experience. So suddenly this thing can come and interviewer will tell you directly that there is nothing called as set iterator. Then your confidence level will go down. Like, okay, have I studied anything wrong? These things will keep on coming in your mind. So those things will be explaining you in depth, like how iterator works in case of set. Okay, and you have to do the same thing with respect to list as well. Okay, so it's very much simple. It's same like set. It will be very much easy for you to implement. Okay, so let me explain you for set. Like there are how many types of iterations? What are the types of iterations that can be done in set? Okay, so let me explain you once in whiteboard. So let's suppose I have created one set. Okay, I have created one set of string. Okay, set of string s equal to, I have created new hash set. Okay, it's like hash set. You have to write it completely. Okay, okay. So this is the thing. Then I have to add one by one all the strings. S dot add one string. S dot add another string. Okay, like that you can add multiple strings in set. Then after that, if there is a, then there will be a point where you have to iterate over each and every element and you have to print it out, like what all elements are present in a set. Then which one will you choose? So before choosing any iterator, you have to know like what are the ways to iterate over the elements of the collection, specifically for set, if I am telling. So first thing which I will go for, what's the first thing that I will be going for? First thing I will be going for is iterator. Okay, so this is one of the interface, okay, with the help of which we will iterate through each and every elements of the set. Okay, so how will I use that? Okay, so for using this, we have to make use of iterator interface. Iterator I equal to s dot. So here, basically we have to pass the generics first. Okay, so what type it is, so that it doesn't allow any other type of data. Okay, so iterator string s equal set iterator si, you can put si equal to s dot iterator. Okay, so like that you can put over here. Okay, so this is the first step. With the help of iterator, how can you iterate through all the elements of the set? Then after that, what we have to do, we will run a while loop, while set iterator dot has next. What is has next over here? Can you tell me what is has next over here? Has next will return me a Boolean value. It will tell whether there is any element present in the further elements of the set or not. Is there any element present in the set or not? It will check the next. So if element is present, then it will go inside. Okay. If it is not present, it will come out of this while loop. Okay. So if element is present while si dot has next, if it returns true, then we can print it out the elements by using si dot next. Okay, it will return me the si type, like it is iterator generic type string type, so it will return me that. Okay, it will return me the actual data. So one by one it will iterate over the elements of the iterator in a set, and then it will take the elements one by one from the set and it will print it. So like this the iteration will happen. Okay, this is the one way of iterating over the elements of the set. Then what's the next step? What's the next way? The next way is with the help of Lambda function. So how can we use Lambda function? So let's understand the second process. What's the second process here? Second process is with the help of Lambda. Lambda means using functional programming. How can you iterate over the elements of the set? Okay. So for that, what we have to do, same set which we have created in the previous slide, that I will be using. Okay. So I will be making use of set dot, we have to make use of for each, okay. Then we will be making use of lambda function. Means I will be explaining you what I'm writing. System.out.print x, then give some space. Okay, so that it will print the elements by having some space, by having some gaps in between the names. Okay, so that is very important, so that you can identify what name is what. So you will not get confused like this is whole string, but that is not whole string. There will be gap in between. So to provide that gap, we will provide it with space here, empty space. Then this is the way. So how it is working internally. So we are making use of for each method. Okay, so it is one of the method present within collection. Okay, collection interface. This is one of the terminal operation. Okay, so for each is a terminal operation, because after this you can't add any other method. So if you have gone through streams, you will be having the idea like how internally it works. Okay, so for each method is nothing but a iteration process, just like enhanced for loop which you have used in your collection, just like a normal for loop. Okay, you have written right for I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. Then you are iterating over each of the elements of I. Then you are printing the elements of I. Same way, this method will also work. This is the iteration process. So what will happen? For each method is accepting. Why I am writing here lambda expression? That is the question that should arise in your mind. Why I am writing lambda expression? So I'm writing lambda expression because this is accepting a functional interface. Okay, so you might be knowing that in from Java 8, there are two inbuilt functional interfaces that has been provided to us by Java people. Okay, so what are those inbuilt functional interfaces? Those are predicate, consumer, function, supplier, by consumer, by function. Okay, by supplier. These are few inbuilt functional interfaces that has been given to us. So because of that only, we are making use of lambda function over here, because lambda function works over functional interface. Okay, so there should be a functional interface which this particular implementation class has to implement. Okay, so if there is no functional interface, we can't implement lambda function. Okay, so what is a functional interface? Functional interface is an interface which contains only one abstract method. Okay, it can have any number of default and concrete methods, it's fine, but it should have only one abstract method. Okay, and whenever there is a functional interface present, okay, then only we can have lambda function or functional programming, because lambda function works on functional interface. So here the lambda function is being provided, that means it's accepting functional interface. Okay, so what functional interface for each method is accepting? For each method is accepting consumer type functional interface. Okay, it accepts consumer type functional interface. So consumer type functional interface means what? It will consume the data, but it will not return anything. Okay, you're understanding, right? So there are predicate, there is something called as function interface. Function interface takes the data and returns the data, the output. Predicate takes the data and will return the boolean value, whether it's true or false. Consumer, it only takes the data. Consumer name only you can see like consume, means it consumes the data. It takes the data, but it will not return you back anything. You can print it out on the console, that is fine, but it will not return any data type. It means if you want to return any string value out from this method, it is not possible here. Okay, so basically it is consumer type functional interface, it is accepting, and within this consumer interface, it's a functional interface, right? So if you know that functional interface has one abstract method. So your next question will be, what will be the one and only abstract method in the consumer functional interface? So it's accept method. Okay. So accept method is accepting the data type which you are passing. Okay. And it will accept the data and will process it. Okay. So it is having accept method internally, and it accepts the data from the input which you are giving over here. Okay, and will not give any output. It will just print it or do operation, whatever operation you want to perform over here itself. Okay, so this is one of the terminal operation steps. So this way internally iteration is happening. So there is something, there are two ways of iterating. So one is external iteration. Okay, one is external iteration, and one is internal iterations. Okay, these two are the iterations which we used to learn. So basically we have learned external iterations. So whatever normal for loops you have written in the code, for each enhance, for each loop, or normal for loop, those loops comes under external iterations. Okay, so because you can see everything what is happening in front of your eyes, like for I equal to GUI less than 10 I plus plus, you are writing, you are iterating, you are doing some operation, everything you can see from your naked eyes. So that is external iteration. And internal iteration means internally it is happening, but you will not be able to observe it just by looking at it. Okay, it is internally happening. So to understand that, you have to go inside in depth, like what is happening beneath, to understand the iteration process. But from outside, no normal layman person can understand what's happening just by looking at the code. Okay, so this is called internal iteration. So this is actually internal iteration is happening. Okay, because you can't see what is happening inside. If you don't know why we are putting Lambda function, what is happening inside, you will not be able to understand the internal iteration. So now I hope you got the idea like how internal iteration is working with for each method. Okay, so now we will go to next thing. So next way is using stream API. Using stream API, we can do the iteration. Okay, stream API is nothing different. Okay, it's similar to Lambda only, but the difference will be we are using streams over here. So we will be writing here set dot stream. Okay, so stream basically works on collection object. You know that already. So it's a stateless actually. Okay, it doesn't store the state of the object. So whatever operations you need to perform, you need to perform here itself. Or if you want to store it, you can store it by collecting it over the list or over the set, and then you can use it. But if in one single line, if you want to store the state of the operation without storing it in any data type or any collection type, it's not possible because stream is stateless. So here we will be passing for each. Okay, and same thing you can write whatever you have written over here, or else there is another way of writing this. Can you tell me what? There is another way of writing this. What is that way? If I want to replace Lambda function with with method reference, how can you replace Lambda function with method reference? You can write system dot out colon print. Like this also you can write. Okay, so it actually refers to Lambda function. Okay, so actually there is something called as print method, which is of static type, which is present in out system.out. Okay, so it refers to the static method. Okay, system is a class. Okay, out is a variable present. Okay, and print is a static method and refers to the static method. Okay, so like this in a print stream class, it is pointing to the static method of print stream class. So like this, you can just refer to the method by using this way, by using this operation. Okay, so basically method reference also works with functional interface. Okay, so Lambda function also works with functional interface. So basically Lambda function can be replaced by functional interface as and when required, but not always. Okay, so in some scenario only Lambda function can be replaced with functional interface. Okay, so if you can understand, like if let me show you, if this whole is Lambda function, okay, then this part will be method reference or constructor reference. Okay, because all Lambda functions can't be represented in the form of method reference or constructor reference, but all method reference can be represented with the help of Lambda function. So this type of relation is there between Lambda and reference, method reference. So this is one of the way to iterate over. And then there is one more method. Okay, so can you tell me what? The one more method is split iterator. Okay, so split iterator. Okay, so here you have seen like there is something called as iterator while we have iterated. So here there will be one simple change. Okay, so instead of directly using s.iterator, we'll be using s.split iterator. Okay, and rest of the thing will be almost same. Okay, the thing which you have written over here, just you will be writing s.split iterator. So while this reference dot has next, then we will be printing the next value. So these things will be happening. Okay, so these are the way of iterating. So interviewer can ask you like in stream API how internal iteration is happening. So you can tell like there is something called a split iterator which is happening internally, and in for each method it's accepting consumer type which is having accept method which accepts the data, okay, and doesn't return anything in return. So it accepts the data and iterate over it. Okay, so this is the way through which we can iterate. So let me show you through code like which iteration process will take the least time and which iteration process will take the most time. Okay, so which is much more preferred and which is least preferred, that I will be showing you. So you will get surprised like how is it possible. So let me show you. I hope you can see my screen. So here I have written one example code. Okay, so I have done with the help of set here. So set of string equal to new hash set. So we have added all the string values in a set. Okay. So we have done the start time and end time to track the time period, like what's the time taken by each of the iteration processes. So I have written iterator is the fastest. So let me show you like how iterator process is the fastest of all. So I will be showing with using iterator. Start time is system.nanotime. It's one of the method present in system class to which we can track the time, current time. Okay, like how much time is there. Then end time we will be tracking, and then we will be tracking the difference. Then only we will get right how much time this particular process is taking. Okay, so iterator is set.iterator, while set iterator dot has next, we are taking the next value. So here you can see next is of string type. So it is returning the string type data. Okay. And here, same we are doing with Lambda. Okay. So we have replaced it with functional programming. Why? Because it accepts consumer type. Okay. And consumer accepts, it has accept type method. Here you can see. This is a functional interface. Okay. Whose functional method is accept type. So it accepts the data. If you go within accept, you will see performs this operation on the given argument. Okay, it only performs the operation. It will not return you back anything. It will perform certain operation on the given input object. Okay, so this is the way we'll see. So same we are doing with stream API. Just one difference between the two. Okay, we are adding stream over here. Dot stream. Okay, and everything is almost same. Okay, you can replace this lambda with method difference like this. Okay, then there's split iterator. Okay, so here you can see here for iterator it was set dot iterator, but here it is set dot split iterator. Okay, so here you can see the return type is split iterator. Okay, which is an interface. Okay, it actually implements the interface. So split iterator is one of the method present in the iterator interface. So this is important, split iterator interface. Okay, so then we will be doing for each remaining. So this is one of the method which accepts consumer. It's similar to for loop on for each loop only. Okay, so it accepts the element in the consumer format. Okay, it accepts the data like just like consumer does. Okay, and it performs a certain set of operations on each of the remaining elements sequentially. Okay, and it processes the data one by one. Okay, and we are checking the end time and we are checking the duration. So here I have stored it out all the time duration taken. Okay, duration taken by the iterator, duration taken by Lambda, duration taken by stream API, and duration taken by split iterator. So we'll check like how much time each of the iteration process is taking. So let me run the code once. So here you can see all the values are coming with iterator, Lambda, stream, and split iterator. So here you can see the time difference. So here if you observe how much time it is, it's in all in nanosecond. Okay, so here you can see 2 3 4 5 6, like 3,45,799. It's nanosecond. Okay, here how many digits are there? 1 2 3 4 5 6. Here 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, here 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Here 1 2 3 4 5 6. So these two are coming in 6 digits. These are going in 7 digits. Okay, so you can imagine like how much difference is coming between iterator and lambda and streams. So lambda and stream actually it takes more time to process the iteration process. This two lambda and streams takes more time because it's stateless and it takes internal iteration is going on, so it will take more time to process the data. It reduces the boilerplate code but at the cost of time. Okay, but at the same time if you use iterator, these two are fastest. Okay, and out of these two you can see like iterator is 3 times much faster as compared to split iterator. Here it is taking 9.953,899 nanosecond, and here it is taking 3,45,799 nanosecond. That means it is taking 3 times much lesser time as compared to split iterator. That means iterator wins the race, and it's the fastest of all the iterators, and Lambda is taking the most amount of time. Okay, so iteration, if you do iteration with Lambda, it will be taking the most amount of time. So generally, it's not preferred to use Lambda to iterate over the elements of the set or list or any other interface which implements collection interface. Okay, so like this we can do. So it's a homework for you. You can do the same with for list, okay, as well as for map. Okay, you just try to iterate over list as well as for map and see like this. This duration is matching for map as well as list or not. So for list, there is something called as list iterator. Okay, the set was a little bit different because there is nothing called as set iterator. So there is split iterator. Okay, so that's why I thought like set might most of the people might get confused like what is the internal iteration is happening, what is split iterator, and also I have made a separate video on iterator, split iterator in set. Okay, so for list, if you understand set and iteration process, list will be very much easy, and map, there is something called as map.entry set.iterator. Okay, so it will process will be same. Okay, so you try it out by your own, and if you want that I will make video on that also, you just comment it down, I will make video on that as well. Okay, so I hope you have liked my video, have understood the process. So we will be making these type of videos again and again so that you will get the knowledge, and I will be able to share with you this type of knowledge again and again. So see you in the next video with certain different set of concepts. Okay, till then, bye bye.